Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. I am Irina, aka Xelia on social media, and I'm an illustrator and graphic designer, and I guess a content creator as well now. This is the third and last part of my Cozy Draw With Me series, and this time I'm gonna share with you how I paint my characters and my render process. If you haven't watched the first two parts yet, I'm gonna share a link in the top right corner, so go ahead and watch those to see how I got to this point. Anyway, before we get into the video, I have a short disclaimer. You'll notice the piece is Halloween themed, and that's because I originally filmed this video last October, but I never got around to editing it. So I decided to use the footage to make this series instead and ease myself into creating long-form videos for YouTube after my Christmas break. Also, this is not a tutorial. I'm just sharing how I do things, and this is by no means the correct way or the only correct way to do it. But if it helps you in any way, that will make me very happy, so let me know in the comments if you found this helpful or entertaining. But enough yapping, and let's get started. When I approach painting a character within a scene, the first thing I do is establish the main source of light. In this case, there would be the moonlight coming through the window, so the character is backlit, which also means a lot of her features will be in the shadow. So, to avoid that, I am imagining a second light coming from the bottom right corner, outside the frame, illuminating her features, because I work hard on them and I want to show it. Lighting is something I am continuously working on improving in my illustrations, so I'm open to feedback if you have any. Now, with the source of light in mind, I move on to the first round of shadows. I use the flat brush in Procreate to add the rough shapes and then come in with the smudge tool to soften the edges. Her skin tone is very pale since she's a vampire, so I'm using a light purple with the layer set to multiply for the shadows. I usually work with 2 layers of shading, so before I move on to her shirt, I add a deeper shadow which you can notice best on her legs, on her inner thighs, and her face. For her shirt, I follow the same process. I use a multiply layer and the light purple shade to cover the entire object, then I erase the areas where the light hits. This first step is pretty quick because the character is backlit, so the light will only be visible on the edges, excluding the part where the hair blocks it. Then on a second multiply layer, can you count how many times I will say multiply layer? I added a deeper shade to help define the creases in her shirt and the shapes of her body. I really like using the flat brush for textiles because it's not 100% opaque, which helps add texture. So I made an active effort to use a combination of both soft and hard edges for this part. For the hair, I have a different approach. I like starting with the darker shade and building my way up from there. I have a more in-depth process video about how I rend the hair, so I'm gonna link it in the top right corner if you want to check it out. So layer by layer, I start defining the flow and the main chunks of hair. As I work through my layers, I switch from a soft brush to a more defined brush, and I also like to play with the thickness of the strands to make it feel more dynamic. I sped up the footage here just because it can get very repetitive, and I don't want this video to be too long. I haven't included that part, but before I moved on to the final details, I added some highlights on the edges. And the final touch for the hair is adding the flyaways, which you can see me doing now. I find this last step very cozy and therapeutic in a way, and in this case it helps me make her hair look messier since she just woke up. now that I've added the basic shadows and highlights to all the elements, let's tie everything together. Using another multiply layer, I'm adding an overlay over the whole piece, and then with a soft brush, I'm roughly erasing the areas with strong lighting, like the moon, the edges of the silhouette, and the bumps in the bedsheets. At this point, I also noticed that I forgot to add the bite marks on her midday snack, so you can see me fixing it here. As a last detail, I'm adding these feathers flying around to show the idea of struggle, and at this point you should be able to put together the story within the piece. So let me know what your take is in the comment section. And we have reached the end of the video. If you watched till this point, I am so grateful, and I would like to know who you are. So comment vampire emoji so I can see it. I hope you enjoyed it, and until next time, I hope you have a wonderful time filled with joy and peace. Bye!